For decades, Las Vegas sold itself as the ultimate playground for everyone. Cheap buffets, free drinks, $39 hotel rooms, and the promise that anyone, no matter their budget, could live like a king for a weekend. But today, that dream has been erased. The shocking truth is that the casinos don't want you anymore. Step onto the Las Vegas Strip, and the evidence is everywhere. Slot machines sit empty, not because they're broken, but because average Americans can no longer afford to play. $20 cocktails, $50 resort fees, and $500 hotel nights have replaced the bargains that built this city. Even parking, once proudly free, is now another charge. The message is loud and clear. If you're not a high roller or a corporate convention guest, you don't belong here. Behind the neon, the real story is darker. Wall Street firms and massive corporations have swallowed the Strip, turning once welcoming casinos into profit machines that care more about shareholders than tourists. Ordinary gamblers are quietly being pushed out, while VIP whales from overseas and billionaire-backed events dominate the city. So the question is unavoidable. What happens to Las Vegas when the very people who made it famous are no longer invited? Tonight, we uncover the hidden system designed to keep regular Americans out, and why the Vegas you remember is never coming back. Once upon a time, Las Vegas was built on one simple promise. This was the place where anyone could play. Whether you were a truck driver, a school teacher, or a Wall Street banker, the city welcomed you with open arms. For decades, the Strip's magic wasn't just in its neon lights, but in its accessibility. Rooms for $39 a night, buffets for $5, and endless free drinks made sure no visitor felt excluded. Families packed station wagons from California, retirees drove in from Arizona, and millions of middle-class Americans made Vegas their escape. It was a city where you didn't need to be rich to feel rich. But those days are gone. In their place is a version of Las Vegas that feels cold, corporate, and exclusive. Today, an average hotel on the Strip charges more than $250 per night, not including the notorious resort fee, which can add another $50 daily. The same buffets that once fed thousands at a fair price have disappeared, replaced by celebrity chef restaurants where one meal can cost $200 for two people. Even cocktails, once complimentary for gamblers, now regularly run $18 to $25 each. The everyone's playground has become a gated playground for the wealthy. The shift didn't happen overnight. It crept in slowly, disguised as modernization. First came the parking fees, shocking locals and longtime visitors who remembered when parking was proudly free. Then came the rise of dynamic pricing, where hotel rates change by the hour and even budget rooms can skyrocket to luxury prices during major events. And finally, casinos stopped chasing small-time gamblers altogether, refocusing on high rollers and corporate convention groups who could spend in one weekend what an average family might spend in a year. For regular Americans, the change is impossible to ignore. Instead of feeling welcome, they now feel squeezed out. Tourists who once bragged about finding cheap rooms and all-you-can-eat buffets return home with horror stories about hidden fees, rude service, and price gouging. Reviews on travel forums are filled with phrases like, "Vegas isn't worth it anymore," and "They don't want people like us." The marketing slogan might as well be rewritten, not "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," but "Vegas is no longer for you." And this isn't just perception, it's strategy. Casino executives openly admit that the middle class is no longer their target audience. To them, regular gamblers who play a few slots and eat at buffets don't generate enough revenue. Why bother catering to millions of average Americans when a handful of international VIPs can drop six figures in a weekend? Why bother with cheap rooms when Wall Street investors demand higher margins? The philosophy has shifted, and with it, the identity of Las Vegas itself. What was once a city of inclusivity has morphed into an exclusive club. The flashing neon is still there, but the invitation is not. For the millions of everyday Americans who once made Las Vegas thrive, the truth is brutal. The casinos don't want you anymore. The transformation of Las Vegas casinos hasn't been an accident. It's been a deliberate strategy. Behind the glamour, executives have spent years re-engineering the Strip to quietly drive out the everyday gambler and replace them with a new class of preferred customers. And the methods they've used are as ruthless as they are effective. Start with the casino floor itself. In the past, low-limit tables and penny slots lined every corner, making sure even a tourist with $20 could play for hours. Today, those games are vanishing. $5 blackjack tables, once the backbone of Vegas gambling, are nearly extinct. In their place are $25 minimums, even on weekdays. Slot machines have also been reprogrammed to offer fewer payouts, with tighter odds that make casual play feel unrewarding. The clear message: if you're not ready to gamble big, don't bother sitting down. Technology has accelerated this purge. Many casinos now rely on AI surveillance systems that track every move a player makes. From how much you bet to how long you linger, these systems instantly calculate your value to the house. If you don't meet the threshold of profitability, don't expect free drinks, bonus points, or special offers. Those perks are now reserved for whales and big spenders, while smaller players are left invisible. It's a quiet but devastating way of saying, you don't matter here anymore. And then there's the death of the comp system. In the old days, gamblers, even low rollers, were showered with free buffets, show tickets, or cheap rooms. It was part of the magic of Vegas, making everyone feel like a VIP. Today, comps have all but disappeared for average players. Loyalty programs are tiered so aggressively that unless you're gambling thousands of dollars, the only thing you'll earn is spam emails. What used to feel like generosity now feels like rejection. The changes extend beyond the tables. Entire sections of casinos are being redesigned to favor the wealthy and push out the rest. High-limit lounges expand while regular gaming space shrinks. Exclusive nightclubs and VIP-only pools dominate the marketing, while affordable attractions quietly vanish. Families once brought their kids to see magic shows or circus acts. Now, the Strip promotes bottle service nights that cost $5,000 for a table. Vegas is no longer selling fun for all. It's selling exclusivity. Even basic amenities now serve as barriers. Parking fees make it expensive just to show up. Resort fees punish budget travelers who thought they found a deal online. And cashless casinos are being rolled out, requiring players to load money onto apps and digital wallets, a system designed to make high-volume gambling seamless but intimidating and inconvenient for small-time visitors. Real people are feeling this shift. One visitor from Texas shared his experience online. "I used to love coming to Vegas with a $500 budget and could stretch it across a weekend. Now, between the fees, the table minimums, and the drinks, I was broke within hours. It feels like they don't even want people like me there anymore." That sentiment is echoed across travel blogs, Reddit threads, and YouTube reviews. Vegas has turned its back on the little guy. Casinos defend these changes by pointing to numbers. Executives argue that high rollers and conventions bring in more reliable revenue than the unpredictable stream of small-time gamblers. They claim that without focusing on elites, they can't compete in today's global entertainment market. But critics say this is short-term thinking that sacrifices the very soul of Vegas. The city wasn't built on billionaires alone. It was built on millions of ordinary Americans who filled its hotels, ate at its buffets, and played its slots. By systematically dismantling everything that made the Strip inclusive, the casinos are committing slow suicide. They're trading mass appeal for narrow exclusivity, gambling that the wealthy alone can sustain the city. But if history has taught us anything, from the collapse of Atlantic City to the empty mining towns of Nevada, it's that once ordinary people stop coming, the city's lifeblood drains away. The truth is undeniable. Las Vegas casinos are quietly showing regular Americans the door. And the scariest part is how normal it all feels when you're there. No announcements, no warnings, just higher prices, colder service, and fewer reasons to stay. One by one, visitors are realizing the harsh truth. Vegas doesn't want them anymore. To understand why Las Vegas has shifted so dramatically, you need to look at who actually owns the Strip today. Once upon a time, casinos were run by families, entrepreneurs, and yes, even the mob. For all their flaws, their goal was simple: keep the lights bright, keep the people happy, and keep them coming back. But now, the Strip isn't run by showmen, it's run by Wall Street. Over the last 2 decades, some of the biggest names in finance have quietly taken control of the city. MGM Resorts, Caesars Entertainment, and global investment giants like Blackstone have turned casinos into financial assets rather than entertainment hubs. In 2021, Blackstone paid nearly $5 billion for the real estate under the Bellagio. They also scooped up the Cosmopolitan in a deal worth over $5.6 billion. Today, many of the most famous resorts in Las Vegas are no longer owned by the people who run them. They're owned by massive corporate landlords. This ownership shift has changed everything. Instead of focusing on keeping gamblers entertained, the mission is now about maximizing quarterly earnings. Every dollar squeezed out of tourists doesn't go back into the city. It goes to distant shareholders in New York, Los Angeles, or even overseas. When executives talk about efficiency, what they really mean is cutting staff, raising fees, and automating services. The once magical Vegas experience is being sacrificed on the altar of corporate greed, and the numbers don't lie. According to financial reports, resort fees alone now generate hundreds of millions of dollars annually for the Strip's biggest operators. These fees aren't reinvested into lowering costs for guests. They're used to inflate revenue on balance sheets and impress investors. Wall Street analysts cheer every new charge, every service cut, every optimization, even as tourists feel cheated. The strategy has gone beyond squeezing individual visitors. Casinos are now being packaged and traded like stocks. The land beneath the Strip is carved up into REITs, real estate investment trusts, where the focus is not on gaming but on financial returns. For average tourists, this means decisions about their vacation experience aren't made in Vegas. They're made in boardrooms thousands of miles away. This corporate mindset explains why the city feels so different. The old Vegas was built on volume. Pack the casinos with as many people as possible and let the excitement carry the day. The new Vegas is built on exclusivity, push out the masses, and target only those who can deliver sky-high profits. In this system, the middle-class visitor is a liability, not an asset. Even entertainment has been swallowed by corporate logic. Iconic shows are priced to the ceiling, with tickets that can easily exceed $300 per person. Stadiums like Allegiant are leveraged not for community pride, but for billion-dollar events designed to attract international sponsors. The Strip is now less about fun and more about being a branded financial product. Locals feel this shift in their bones. Workers who once believed they were part of something special now see themselves as disposable labor. Layoffs are routine, benefits are slashed, and the personal connection between employee and guest, once the beating heart of the city, has been severed. To Wall Street, a smiling dealer is just another cost to be eliminated. The irony is sharp. Vegas built its reputation as a place of escape, where regular Americans could live like royalty for a weekend. But as Wall Street's grip tightens, the magic is gone. The experience has been hollowed out, replaced with cold efficiency and soulless profit models. For visitors, the shift feels personal. The casinos don't want you because you don't fit the spreadsheet, and that's the truth no one likes to admit. Las Vegas has stopped being a city and started being a balance sheet. What was once a playground for millions has been repackaged into a portfolio for billionaires. And when greed becomes the only game in town, it's the ordinary people who always lose. If you've started to feel like Las Vegas doesn't want you anymore, it's because you're not who the casinos are chasing. The Strip hasn't abandoned people altogether. It's simply traded one audience for another. And the truth about who's really welcome here today is more shocking than most visitors realize. The first group is obvious: the high rollers. Casinos now pour resources into attracting VIP gamblers from around the globe, particularly from China, the Middle East, and Silicon Valley's tech elite. These are the so-called whales, individuals who gamble hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, in a single trip. Entire floors are redesigned for them. Exclusive gaming salons, private jet transfers, and luxury suites with secret entrances aren't just perks, they're weapons in the competition to secure these whales. For them, Vegas rolls out the red carpet. For everyone else, the doors are quietly closing. The second group is the corporate world. For decades, conventions have been part of Las Vegas's business model, but in recent years, they've become the Strip's lifeline. Massive trade shows like CES, Consumer Electronics Show, or luxury events like the F1 Grand Prix bring in enormous profits with far less risk than catering to millions of budget-conscious tourists. These events attract wealthy professionals, influencers, and global executives who are willing to spend big and expense even more. Casinos have rebranded themselves as convention centers with gambling attached, making clear who they really value. Then there are the sports fans and spectacle seekers. The arrival of the NFL's Raiders, the construction of Allegiant Stadium, and the billion-dollar contracts to host the Super Bowl and Formula One races show the direction of the city's future. Sports aren't just entertainment. They're golden tickets for casinos to attract affluent crowds. The Strip has transformed from family-friendly to high-octane, chasing guests who can afford $2,000 tickets and $10,000 VIP packages. But while the rich and corporate elite enjoy the full Vegas experience, ordinary visitors face barriers everywhere. The once famous comp system is now essentially a private club. Unless you're a VIP or a high-spending convention guest, you'll find yourself excluded from the best perks. The once free buffets, complimentary show tickets, and cheap rooms are gone, replaced by reward systems so restrictive they're meaningless for the average gambler. Even the entertainment lineup reveals the divide. Shows once designed to appeal to broad audiences, magicians, comedians, family acts, have been replaced by superstar residencies that price out the majority of visitors. A night with Adele or U2 can cost over $500 per seat, putting them far beyond the reach of middle-class families. Instead of inclusivity, Vegas now sells exclusivity as its brand. And who else is welcome? Investors. Real estate trusts, hedge funds, and billionaire developers are treated like royalty. While working-class locals face eviction and tourists choke on fees, corporate buyers are greeted with champagne as they purchase casinos, stadiums, and entire blocks of the Strip. To the modern casino, money doesn't just talk, it screams. Meanwhile, the very people who once defined Vegas, road trippers from California, retirees from Arizona, honeymooners looking for a budget escape, are now treated as inconveniences. They're no longer the lifeblood of the city, but the background noise. Executives know this and don't bother hiding it. One industry insider even admitted, "We don't want the $100 a day gambler anymore. We want the $100,000 a weekend player." That statement alone reveals everything about who matters in Las Vegas today. The impact is devastating for the identity of the city. The Vegas dream was built on the idea that anyone could be part of it. That dream has now been sold to the highest bidder. Locals see it, tourists feel it, and critics warn that by pushing out regular Americans, the Strip risks hollowing itself into a shiny shell with no real heart. So, who is truly welcome in Las Vegas today? The answer is clear: whales, billionaires, and corporations. Everyone else, the people who made Vegas famous, are no longer invited to the party. The question everyone is afraid to ask is simple: what happens to Las Vegas if this trend continues? If casinos no longer want everyday Americans, can the city survive on elites and corporations alone? The answers are grim, and the future that experts describe looks more like a dystopia than a dream. First, consider the jobs. Over 250,000 people in Las Vegas depend directly on hospitality and casino work. Dealers, housekeepers, waiters, bartenders, entertainers, the lifeblood of the city. But if casinos shift entirely toward a high roller and corporate model, those jobs shrink dramatically. A handful of whales don't need thousands of workers. They need private hosts, security, and luxury managers. Already, automation and AI-driven services are replacing staff. Robotic bartenders, self-check-in kiosks, and AI surveillance don't just cut costs, they eliminate the very positions that sustain the middle class of Las Vegas. Second, think about the housing market. When middle-class workers leave because they can't afford to stay, entire neighborhoods collapse. We've already seen foreclosures and empty houses creep into the outskirts of the desert. If more families flee, Las Vegas risks becoming a city of empty shells, mansions for the rich near the Strip, and ghost suburbs sprawling into the sand. The 2008 crash showed how quickly this can happen when Vegas was one of the hardest hit cities in America. This time, the stakes are even higher. Third, the water crisis looms like a shadow. The Colorado River and Lake Mead are at historic lows, and by the 2030s, severe cutbacks could hit. A Vegas built for corporations and billionaires might survive longer by importing water and paying premiums, but the ordinary residents? They'll be left behind in a desert city that literally can't sustain them. A ghost town doesn't always mean empty casinos. It can also mean a city where infrastructure collapses, forcing its people to leave. Then there's the cultural cost. If Vegas becomes only a luxury bubble, it stops being Las Vegas. The city's mythology, the idea that anyone could come, take a chance, and maybe win big, dies. What remains is a hollow brand, a desert Disneyland for the global elite. Some analysts already call this the Dubai model: build towers and spectacles for billionaires while ignoring the working class. But critics warn that Vegas doesn't have the same resources, geography, or political stability to pull it off. Instead, it risks becoming a fragile bubble that bursts the moment the money dries up. History shows what happens when cities abandon their people. Atlantic City thought it could survive on luxury casinos, but when regular visitors disappeared, the entire system collapsed. Today, boarded-up casinos line its streets like tombstones of broken promises. If Las Vegas repeats that mistake, the fall will be even more dramatic because the city is so much bigger, more dependent, and more exposed to global economic shocks. What about tourism itself? If families and average gamblers stop coming, Vegas loses not just revenue, but identity. Tourists bring the energy, the buzz, the chaos that makes the Strip feel alive. Without them, even billion-dollar casinos feel empty. Already, visitors report that the Strip feels cold and soulless. Imagine that magnified by another decade of corporate greed. The neon will still shine, but it will shine over silence. Some dreamers argue that Vegas could reinvent itself again. They say the city has always adapted, surviving the mob era, the 2008 crash, even the pandemic shutdown. But others believe this time is different. The combination of skyrocketing costs, corporate control, declining tourism, and environmental collapse creates a perfect storm. Reinvention may no longer be enough. The darkest prediction is this. By 2035, Las Vegas could become a two-tier ghost city. On one side, an exclusive strip serving billionaires, international elites, and private corporations. On the other, abandoned suburbs, shuttered schools, and residents fleeing the desert. A glittering oasis surrounded by emptiness. A city alive in name, but dead in spirit. And that, perhaps, is the most haunting truth. The casinos may not want you anymore, but if they succeed in pushing you out, they may end up killing the very city they claim to protect. Because without the people, without the crowds, without the everyday dreamers, Las Vegas is nothing but neon in the sand. In the end, the shocking truth cannot be ignored. Las Vegas casinos don't want you anymore. The city that once thrived on welcoming everyone, from the weekend gambler to the family of four looking for cheap fun, has quietly rewritten the rules. $39 hotel rooms are gone. Buffets are gone. Free drinks are gone. In their place are sky-high fees, corporate greed, and luxury designed only for the elite. What does that mean for the rest of us? It means the people who built the city, the working class, the tourists who came year after year, the locals who gave it soul, are being erased from the story. It means Wall Street wins while ordinary Americans lose. And it means the Vegas dream, once the most accessible symbol of escape in America, has been stolen by billionaires and global investors. The strip still glows, but the welcome mat has been rolled up. The truth is simple. If you're not a high roller or part of a corporate convention, Las Vegas is no longer for you. So the haunting question is this. When the casinos no longer want the people, how long before the people no longer want Las Vegas? If you want to uncover more of these hidden truths about America's collapsing icons, make sure to subscribe to Vanishing America, where we expose the stories that no one else dares to tell. Because the decline of Vegas isn't just a local tragedy, it's a warning for the future of America itself.